And we are live. It is Saturday night. It is gone 8 o'clock. And it's time for some Blake'7. Interesting. Yeah.
Actually, before we get on to Blakes'7,
Yes.
something Lucosa pointed out to me in the week. We didn't actually rate the Edge of Destruction episode last week. We neglected to give it a rating.
7 out of 10.
6.5.
And I would go 6.
There
There
you
we
go.
go.
Right, Blake'7. That cleared that up.
There we go. All sorted. Yeah, we're doing Blake'7. And this should be a good one. This should be good. I mean, at least the first season anyway, because the first season, I tend to find that the first season's writing is a bit more solid than the other seasons. I still think the other seasons are fun, but I think that, like with a lot of all BBC stuff, it struggles and suffers with the fact that they don't want to pay for it, and that's the biggest problem with the show.
Didn't Terry Nation write 14 back-to-back episodes?
He did, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be why it's pretty good. I mean, you say what you like about Terry Nation. The bloke can write a sci-fi story.
Yeah, no, this is why I think there's a different consistency in the writing. Later on, it goes away from what the original idea of the show was, and it becomes a bit more bonanza. It's just I find that the writing early on has a bit more to say about um, control, about paranoia, about governments, about systems of functioning.
Oh,
Um,
without a doubt, for me, the first series is the best out of the four, without any shadow of a doubt. I mean, I don't know if both of you would agree with me. I
mhm.
do like the later stuff, but it's something about the first series. It's they're so up against it all the
Yeah,
time, and it really has you rooting for what effectively is the bad guys.
yeah, oh, absolutely. And the thing is, I think with in particular the first season of Blake'7, to me, is some of the best sci-fi writing ever. Like I don't mean just for this show. I mean ever. I mean
Yeah, I
it's
go
just
along with it.
it's an amazing bit of kit.
Yeah, we're certainly going to see it with tonight's episode.
Oh,
This
absolutely.
one, absolutely superb.
Yeah, and
Every season, I think, has at least one gem, but every season also has one or two real stinkers in it.
mhm,
Yeah, even this season doesn't get away with it.
no.
But,
But I
yeah,
mean, we're talking about consistent sci-fi writing. I mean, bloody hell, it's a high bar. I
oh,
mean,
yeah.
there's you've got to look at it this way, right? You can see whereby the BBC might have been leaning on Terry Nation a little bit after like the first two episodes, but even so, he's still dealing with the fact that he's treating people as people, um, and he's not trying to be like, oh, this is a girl, so we'll treat her girly, or this is like Villa has a bit of a cowardly streak in him, but he's consistent with that sort of writing, and Villa has that in him throughout. Um, Whereas sometimes you'll have characters do something one week and then do something completely different another week that goes against the their nature, I guess. Whereas with Blake'7, it doesn't happen. It just Avon is a total bastard from start to finish. Um, he's just cold. He's just utterly cold, and maybe that's Paul Darrow looking after the character. I don't know, but
He's quite honestly one of the best characters ever in
oh,
sci-fi, if not the best.
I love Avon. Avon will leave somebody for dead at the drop of a hat.
When I was a kid and we used to play games in the playground and we'd moved on from the Avengers and Doctor and we were playing Blake'7, everyone wanted to be Avon. That's how good he was. Even if he was named after a slightly dodgy cosmetic company.
Hmm. Or River.
Yeah, or a river.
But yeah, no, but I mean, I think we got a good group of characters. I think that they all a little bit shady, to say the least. Um, it's But again, the other problem with when it gets to the later seasons when they lose the Liberator and they end up on board the Scorpio, that whole bit is like you've just got away from from the core. Do you know what I mean? It's like season 5 of the A Team. Nobody really wants to acknowledge it exists. It's it does, and you might sit down and watch it, but they've changed the theme tune, and one of the characters is different, and you don't know why. It's just, but I think like I wish they would remake Blake'7, but I wish they would remake Blake'7 with somebody with a strong, serious attitude towards the show, because there's elements. I mean, I don't know if we'll see it in this one, probably the next one, but this it deals with the fact that there's people out there that are absolute bastards, that there are people out there that are scum, that there are people out there that who are supposed to be members of authority. I mean, the Commander Rika from the London.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's a rapist. Like I don't know I don't know what to do with he's supposed to be one of the prison guards or the commanders of the ship. And then you've got Blake himself, who in this episode alone, when comes around to seeing it, he gets accused of being a child molester. I mean, it's not
And
we're
though
not.
there is all the reasons why they'll never remake it, and if they do, it will be so dumbed down, it'll be an insult to the name. I hope they never touch it.
It would be good, but I mean this. I think they could do it. It's just the fact that you're gonna need to treat it the same way that somebody would treat like Game of Thrones, or do you ever watch the Spartacus series?
Yeah, I saw the first series of that. They're good series, but I hope they leave this alone and they never touch it. I hope it is what it is, and it's left as it is
Oh
forever.
yeah,
Because
look, I totally agree, but it's just the fact that if they were going to remake it, that's what I would expect them to do is to treat it with that sort of severity. I don't want because Blake'7 to me, this is why I don't really like the later ones, the later episodes. From season 1, it loses its edge and becomes more of a generic sci-fi. And it wasn't that. It just the first season, as we're going to see in the first episode here, the sets aren't great. They really not. They quite. In fact, the sets are quite shabby looking. But it doesn't matter because the storytelling is there.
Yeah.
The costumes aren't particularly good, but the storytelling is there. The locations that they've chosen are interesting, but you wouldn't go, "Oh, this is anything spectacular," but they've got good direction and the storytelling is there. It's all on if this was an audio play, you'd be listening to this going, "Wow," because it would all be there in your head for you. This is the BBC underfunding a show to a laughable degree because when people talk about like wobbly sets and bad visual effects, it's this that they're talking about. But it's not their fault. They give them some money, and that's where we're at with it, really. I don't know what else to say, really. I mean, how low budget a visual effect is when the main principal model shots for this show at some points are literally just artwork being moved on a pane of glass.
Yeah, it looks like cardboard cutouts
Yeah,
because I think they are.
They are, yeah.
Yeah.
Some of them really are just photographs, and some of them aren't even photographs. Some of the space shots are actually just somebody's drawing. And I think a couple of the shots of the Liberator are drawing as well.
Yeah.
And they just coloured in, and they're just moving them on a piece of glass. It looks like a Monty Python sketch. It's incredible to think that. And the other side of this as well is the fact that during this production, a little thing called Star Wars come out, and boy, did that kick them in the ghoulies.
Well, Star Wars was what they wanted, weren't it? Really, but Blake'7's what they got because they didn't give it the money. I watched. I've got a program called The Cult of Blake'7, and they talk about all of that. You know, one of the guys like, "Well, you're going to give us the money?" And it's like, "No." Oh, well, this is what you're going to get then.
Yeah, I mean, like the guys that were making Blake'7, Matt Irvin and some of the other people who were making Blake'7, they actually went to the cinema to watch Star Wars to kind of see what they were getting into, you know, and they left the theater both exhilarated at what they seen and in absolute shock at what they were up against. I mean, you can imagine, you know, to see because at the time nothing had ever moved like Star Wars.
Well, I hope for their sake they went to see The Last Jedi and feel totally vindicated now.
No, but here's the thing. This is what's really, really interesting. Some of the shots that they do in Blake'7 are really, really good. Like, there's very little that you would change in them, even filming today. But then you're stuck with a bit of paper moving against a piece of glass.
There's no consistency with the stuff like that.
No, and that's the problem, is the fact that you get one model shot that makes you go, oh, that's nice. Another one going, oh, come on. I just saw the other one just now. Like we get the model. I think I don't think it's in this. I think it's in the next one, actually, in Spacefall, where you get the London, the prison ship, and some of the shots of that are really good. I mean, if I remember rightly, there's one shot whereby they take it off from the port, and you got like people superimposed in front of it, and it's seamless. It's absolutely seamless. And then at the same time, again, then you got a color drawing. Somebody just gone, hey, look at this. Well, there we are.
I mean, a lot of Blake'7. You know, I view it the same way as I watch older, cheaper Doctor Who. If the story's good enough, I can totally ignore the effects because my brain fills in the gaps because that's what it did when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I didn't see bits of paper going across a pane of glass.
Oh, so
I didn't because I didn't know they did that until you just told me. So.
Oh, you see, and the thing is, like I said, it's just the fact that anytime they would do things like that, whereby it's just moving artwork, it's disjointed from when, like, some of the shots, but in particular, you know, because I know that they didn't have a big department. I've got a feeling there was like 4 people in the department, and they were doing everything. They were doing all the model shots, all the anything that other people couldn't do, basically. And I know, like, I know Matt Irvin does still have the original Liberator. I think he's got the original Liberator. I think he's got part of the teleport console. I think he's got the original ORAC. What else has he got? Oh, he's got one of the bracelets as well.
It's quite a collection. A plastic one or a cardboard one?
But a what?
A plastic one or a cardboard one? The bracelets.
Oh no, he's got a proper one. He's got a proper aluminium one.
Well, the cardboard ones were proper ones as well. They showed how to make them on Blue Peter, and they kept losing them. So they copied the ones they made on Blue Peter. So some of the ones in the show are cardboard and sellotape. Oh, sorry, sticky back plastic.
Yes, some of the principal ones I think are at least aluminium backed, and I got a little magnet in them, so they actually snap shut. But it's the same with the wands, the guns. That's a bit yet. You know, that's going to come. I think what was that? Second, third episode. Probably the second episode. It's got to be.
Yeah,
end of the second. Yeah. So, it jumps into it pretty quick. It does take time to assemble the crew. The show, it doesn't happen overnight. It's not like first episode and they're all together. It doesn't happen that way. So it does take a bit to progress to get all the characters
Yeah.
together.
I don't think it's until episode 3, isn't it, that they're all together?
I would have said further. I would have said
Oh, yes, of course, because Callie doesn't come in until later on.
yeah, Canada doesn't come in. Who else? Because I mean, obviously, Zen is obviously going to be part of the Liberator. Um, who's there on board the
Well,
London?
Avon first appears in episode 2, yeah,
Yep.
along with Zen. Gan doesn't appear until episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
Villa and Jenna are both there in episode 1.
Yeah,
It's only Blake,
with
Jenner, and
Blake.
Villa in this episode, isn't it?
yeah. So it does take time to build the team, and it's good the fact that I like with the storytelling for this as well is that these people don't like each other. Like it's one of the best things about this. It's kind of like Dallas in space. They're all stuck together, but none of them like each other. I think Gan has a bit more of an interesting story, and I think there was more to mine there before they did what they did with the character. That's for much later on. But I think there was more to mine in his character because he was this sort of brutish guy, but was unable to harm people. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff in this.
Yeah, he comes across as the gentle giant, but of course, in one particular story, when his limiter stops working, his natural instinct is to kill everybody he
Yeah.
encounters.
Yeah, but it's but there's all lots of things going up and down. I mean, one of the other things as well, we talked about this when we were talking about Doctor Who last week as well, about the way they write in some of these characters. Serverland doesn't come into this for a long time.
No.
No.
It's episode 6 or 7, I think, when she first shows up.
Yeah, it's quite a while, and she's a prominent character.
Well, she was only supposed to be in one episode to start with, but she was such a hit, they wrote her into the rest of it,
Yeah, but
which is unsurprising.
Yeah, but there's also one scene. I mean, there's a couple of moments between her and Avon that's just like, this is going to make me sick, isn't it? like, like these two should not be doing what I know what these two are going to do, and I don't want to see it. So, yeah, yeah, I don't know what else we can say about this. It's a 70s TV show, feels 70s.
Got one of the best theme tunes though. That's timeless.
It does have a good theme tune. I'll give it that. It's got a good theme tune. It's what do they call it? Roasting, I guess. It's
Well, we were talking about Space 1999
Yeah.
last week as well, and the theme tune of that could not be any more 1970s if it tried.
yeah. I mean,
It's good, but it's not far off of having John Travolta and the Bee Gees appear in it. It is that kind of music.
yeah.
I think the theme tune to both series was very 70s, even though series 2, it's very different.
Yeah. And I
and
mean,
not as good.
it's hard. It's hard to think because like I'm trying to think of other sci-fi shows running at the same time. Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, I thought had a bloody good theme tune.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, they used the Eagles. I can never remember the name of the song.
Journey of the Sorcerer, I believe.
There you go. Yeah.
But what other things? Battlestar Galactica. There's another one run about the same time. Good theme tune. No, I believe it was performed by John Williams. I don't think it was written by John Williams though. So that's an interesting one. But yeah, it would be. I would be interested in hearing a full orchestra play Blakes' 7 theme. You know, a proper 32-piece orchestra. not.
Oh, yeah, I can guarantee it's been done.
Oh, probably,
Oh, I'm sure,
undoubtedly.
yeah.
But it would be nice to hear this big orchestral piece. I know Jeff Love did cover it. Jeff Love and his orchestra covered Blakes'7. But unfortunately, Jeff Love was one of those people that likes to zhuzh it up,
Yeah.
make it funky. So it was just like, Jeff. It's bad enough what you did to Thunderbirds. You don't have to do that to this and Space 1999. And oh my god, it was just one of those things. There we are. Yeah, you know what sort of you know what Love did to it. If I said to you, do you remember the disco Star Wars theme?
Oh, God.
That was Jeff Love.
I had that album.
That was truly awful.
Yeah, it was. Doo-doo. That's what you had. I would say Star Wars probably had a bigger influence on Blake'7 later on than it did early on. I tell you what, I am grateful for with Blake'7 more than anything else. And I don't understand. This is one of the problems I have with some episodes, some elements of modern Doctor Who. They stopped doing robot voices every time they were talking, because like any single time that they would do a robot on TV, be like, "Danger, Will Robinson! Danger, danger! This is my robot voice." And in this, you get like Zen and Orak, and they're just like, "What can I do for you?"
Well, they're
Yeah.
Peter Tuddenham, aren't they, basically?
Yeah.
They actually have personality.
Yeah.
Zen, I always thought was a bit like a university lecturer, just like informing his students.
Yeah.
Aurak was the irritable professor who thought everybody was beneath him. Unfortunately, it did go a bit downhill with Slave. His
Yeah.
Uriah Heep, very humble. That was rather irritating.
Yeah, but I mean, but this is my problem with modern Doctor Who, is the fact that when they do modern Doctor Who, like, why are the same men talking like they do now when they used to talk in proper English? Like, they used to have a little bit of metal to their voice, but it was like, which one is the Doctor? And now it's like, which one is the Doctor? I'm like, why? You've just evolved.
Yeah. They may not have David Banks able to play the cyber leader anymore, but let's have him do the voice acting or something.
It doesn't matter. Well, no, they can get somebody to do it as long as there's somebody tidy, somebody with a voice that they don't need to bloody use a ring modulator on all the time. There's no need to make it that digital. It's the same with the Daleks. The Daleks have improved no end, but that's in part thanks to the fact that Nicholas Briggs knows how to dial it back. But I think that Blake'7 did a lot. I think he took some inspiration from 2001 with Hal.
Oh, the Hal, yeah.
And I like the fact that they stuck with it. That it was like, oh, okay, this talking with a normal human voice isn't a problem for technology. And yet Doctor Who still hasn't grasped onto it. But I appreciate that I think most of I wouldn't say all, because I do think there are some, but most of the artificial intelligence in Blake's is pretty articulated. So that's something that I do heavily appreciate. We're gonna get funky costumes. We know that.
Oh, yeah.
You say sci-fi, you say BBC, and suddenly somebody smacked somebody in the face with some makeup and told them to wear a cape with sequins. And that's what you're gonna get.
We don't get quite as bad as Robots of Death, though.
Oh no, it's pretty. No, there are some.
It's close, but it's not as bad.
No, it's
some of the outfits that Sutherland wears. Oh yeah.
Space Vegas. Wait till they get to Space Vegas.
Yeah, in Gambit. Oh yes, yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, yeah, I forgot about that.
So yeah, I don't have a whole lot left to talk about. We've got some good directing in this. I think some of the scenes, some of the photography in this, I think is really well done. Particularly for when Blake's remembering his torture. I think it's without doing special effects or visual effects, it's it conveys exactly what it needs to do very very well. Um, so yeah, just before we make a start, um, I don't know where we at. Um, just have a quick look here. So, give me some damn information, people. So yeah. So this one was directed by Michael E. Bryant. The first episode. Michael E. Bryant done EastEnders, Emmerdale,
Top pedigree then.
Howard's Way.
God, it's getting better.
Yeah.
Casualty by any chance?
No.
The Bill?
I was just going to say, what the bill?
Tale of Two Cities before Blakes'7, though. He's done several episodes of. He done 5 episodes of Blakes'7. Before that, he did. Oh no, here's a good thing. So before Blakes'7, he done some Doctor Who, and boy, did he do some belters. Colony in Space, The Sea Devils, The Green Death, Death to the Daleks, Revenge of the Cybermen, and The Robots of Death. So he came with some sci-fi knowledge.
A little bit of clout there.
Yeah, he didn't walk into this blind. I think they picked a good one for dealing with the principal episode. So yeah, he done other stuff as well. So yeah. Secret Army, Breakaway, Tale of Two Cities, Blood Money, Kesler, 1x1, Hideaway. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Spitchen Hoyek. I've got a feeling that's not even made in England.
You think, yeah, could that be Dutch by any chance?
I think so.
Spitch and Hoyek. It could well be.
That's the best thing I can say about it. That's the only thing I can say about it. Oh, we got Robert Beatty in this as well. There we go. Robert Beatty, good actor. Most people probably know Robert Beatty as the ship captain from Superman 3.
Yeah, the Canadian guy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in quite a few war films, I think, in the 50s and 60s.
So he was the tanker captain in Superman 3. He was the president in Superman 4. That's a hell of an upgrade.
I thought in the Christopher Reeve universe, E.G. Marshall was the president. They changed him, didn't they?
Well, yeah. You can only serve 4 years. 4 years a term, isn't it? 2 terms. I don't think they can do 3. Or can they do 3 in America? I don't know.
They only did once during the war.
Yeah. But there we are. Good actor. We got a lot of good actors in this, actually.
I can never remember the guy's name. Robert something or other. He was in The Power of the Daleks. He was also in The Mask of Mandragora.
Well, the only other Robert in the list I can see is Robert James.
I think that's him.
Playing Glint.
Yeah.
It's a very, very minor role.
I don't know. He's 5th in the list.
Yeah. Oh, I tell you who's actually really good in this. Is Jeremy Wilkin. And Jeremy Wilkin has done a lot of Jerry Anderson stuff. So, he's done Doctor Who and so on.
Is this the guy that looks a bit like an Auton that walks about with a limp?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes, yeah.
I like him so much because he's got such a punchable face. He does. Yeah, he has a face that's just like, man, you son of a bitch, and you're gonna get it.
Yeah, he's as much of a scumbag in this as he was in Revenge of the Cybermen.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And then, while we're on the subject, and well, near the subject too, of people who play Gits, and since we've already mentioned Superman 3 as well, um, Gavan O'Hillery passed away this week, who played Brad Wilson, and he was so good in almost everything that he done. He done a lot of British shows as well. But yeah, he played the bad guy. Well, not a bad guy, but the dickhead in Superman 3, and he did such a good job of it. He was just a brilliant actor.
He was
there's
also in Never Say Never Again.
Yeah,
there's not many people that can convincingly carry off a drinking scene with Richard Pryor, and he did it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a bit of a shock, but he's done a lot of good work. I think what was the other one he was in? Oh, so yeah, Gavan.
I've seen him in plenty, but
Yeah.
Superman 3 and Never Say Never Again are the two that I particularly remember him for.
Yeah, I mean, he was in The Descent, 7 Days of Grace, Jonathan Creek, Star Trek Voyager. He played Mage Jabin in Caretaker. He was in the Tarzan series. He was in Twin Peaks. Willow. He was Arik Thorbear Bear in Willow. Um,
I haven't seen that film for a
Oh,
long
man.
time.
yeah, it's worth watching. But yeah. It's just a bit of sad news. That's all. It's just that I thought he was anyone that can convince you to go. You got some comeuppance coming your way. That's a good actor.
Also, in the last 7 days, we also lost Clifford Rose, Kessler
Yeah.
from Secret Army, and he was also in Warrior's Gate, the Doctor Who story.
Yeah. One sec.
Didn't we also lose what's his name? Is it Bob Baker or something? One of the Doctor Who writers or script editors in the last couple of weeks as well.
Yeah. He passed away November 3rd. Bob Baker. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a bit of sad news there. But the good news is we're about to start watching Blakes'7, where most of the cast is dead. Shit.
Way to cheer everyone up.
Yeah. Thanks for that. Should we make a start?
I'm ready at all the zeros. I've just got to wait for you to do your ting thing.
Yeah, still got to do.
By the way, do you like the set tonight?
I think it looks sexy. It's just
Yeah. What about the set behind me? Well,
I'm trying to see if I can't maximize it for some reason. Can I? No.
you should be able to.
No, it's not letting me to. I can't. No, see, I can do that. That's me. Hey.
Hey. See, and what I can do then is I can do that.
There we go.
See, improvement all round.
Right then. I'm gonna make a start. I'm gonna press play very soon. And 3, 2, 1. Ting BritBox presented by BBC and diddly 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 diddly. I love this intro. Balls coming out your face. Sticky artwork coming at your face.
Beautiful
Badly
spaceship.
photoshopped. You notice there's a little bit of grammar missing from that. The way back. Tilty turny camera on a prop.
I bet
Big
John
lot of
Pertwee was operating that.
polystyrene. Yeah, I'll tell you, what I really don't like. But that's the only thing I really don't like. The unnecessary root sound on the doors. It just reminded me as you walk past the doors, but I was just like, oh no, they put sound effects in for those, haven't they? Yes, those are lighting rigs you can see at the top of the screen. And
Well, it
yes,
is.
you can see the seams in those bloody... It's really bad.
Yeah, I've never looked at it with that kind of eye before. I just watch it for what it is.
Yeah, I like the story. I love the story. But you just want the production to love it as much as I do. You know? Make a good effort, like. Now, I believe this is all filmed in TC3. Yeah, that door gets used multiple times throughout the show, orientated differently. They built it once, use it lots.
Well, it makes sense, doesn't it, when your budget's as low as they've got?
Oh yeah, they just turn it on end, and then I think it ends up being the hatch for the Liberator, and it ends up being the hatch for the London, and it says here, Gareth Thomas and Tom Baker always wanted to do a crossover between Doctor Who and Blake'7.
Well, it was written. It was all set to go. Avon was going to encounter the Doctor. I'm kind of glad they didn't.
It all depends on the writing.
Yeah. So it says here the invasion of Andromeda from the end of the second season was originally going to be an invasion of the Daleks.
Well, I mean, you know, it's Terry Nation.
Yep.
How's he going to get up that ladder? Come on.
It's just something sort of interesting there that Matt shot kind of works. So listen to this. After Terry Nation left the series, Paul Darrow was fed up with the inconsistent way Avon was written. They gave up starting to play him and slowly started playing him, losing his mind to compensate for it.
You're right. He's got a very punchable face, hasn't he?
Yeah.
That match shot was a lot better, by the way.
Oh, yeah. So he says Paul Darrow was notorious for breaking props. The props department got so frustrated that they made one with an aluminium core so he couldn't break it. Then he says underneath, this was later stolen. It's an interesting location, but it does look a bit like a car park. I'm not sure which other way you would say that. They're not alive anymore.
They have ceased to be.
They are ex-brother and sister. I think it's brilliant. He looks silly when he runs. There's a lot of information just being passed over there.
Acted really well as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really not sure what to make of the costumes in this particular part. It's like they aimed for Robin Hood and hit something else. I don't know what. I don't know what they thought they were making.
Oh, I think they look fine, and the reason I think they look fine is because they're all very drab, muted colours rather than being bright and gaudy.
Mm, it's just the style of them. They look very period.
I have a feeling it's about to go very poorly.
Yep. Like, you can see what they were aiming for. You can see what they were trying to do.
I think, considering the amount of money they didn't have, I think they done a superb job.
Well, there's a lot of location work in this, which makes up for some of the lags.
Yep, not going to happen.
It's in fairness, you got to remember these are BBC special effects as well. So the fact that they just sort of quick puff flares and yeah, his gun's on fire there. It's quite effective. I prefer that than inserting some really shitty beam.
Yeah, yeah.
The last thing you need to see is something that looks like a Dalek weapon getting fired.
Good job they gave him bad news, so he had to walk off, innit?
Yeah, yeah. They've wiped his mind so much it's shiny. So the execution scene there was called by critics as one of the most violent scenes on television.
Well, for the time, I'd imagine it probably was when you consider how many people died in it.
Oh, interesting. One of the people that auditioned for the part of Dana was Marina Sirtis.
All right.
I mean, it probably would.
But it wouldn't help Blake much.
No. That's not a bad comp in, but that. Ah, damn noise on the doors. It's just a hinge. What's wrong with the hinges that it makes that noise?
Yeah.
Again, for the time, that compositing and that CSO is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
These doors are automatic. You just have to use your hand to open them.
That's not signing his death warrant much, is it?
No. The only thing I really wish they done with this set more than anything else is to maybe not paint everything white, but also put everything on a couple of levels. It's a bit linear.
God, I bet there were some sweaty palms at the BBC when they came up with this storyline.
Oh. No, Jim fixed it for him.
So I was just about to say the same thing.
Yeah, they have. It's their job to do a brilliant job. That's what they do.
Well, they can get away with wearing capes in court because, I mean, people still wear wigs in court, don't they? So,
Yeah.
I just wish that they'd done a bit more. The sets are just a bit lackluster.
Corruption in high office. Yeah, it's hard,
Yes.
hard to imagine that.
really very far fetched, this program, isn't it?
No, I find it weird that they've decided to where the screen is supposed to be blank, but they've still CSO'd it.
Yeah, right there, you can really see it, can't you?
Yeah, it's a weird decision.
Yeah, if you're going to use CSO, then at least have something there in the background, not just a grey bloody screen.
Yeah, if you look over on the behind him there, not to his side, you'll see that they've moved the door set. It's now in the background. See, it's behind him there. You can actually see the door, the silver outline. It's a bit better. Peanut.
Child.
I like the fact that where they try to write a court drama. You'll be taken from this place to a place of the. Well, no, because what's the alternative? We're going to leave you here.
Yeah.
Your punishment is to sit there. He just looks silly when he runs. It looks like he's trying to do paint the fence, but he can't quite manage it.
God, thank God they got rid of her.
She's the warden. They're just forcing her to go back to work. Peanut. And the BBC there using up their entire stock of aluminium.
So they're all getting along like a house on fire.
Yeah.
Don't they always?
See, like these little bits of set here, they've actually done something with them to make them feel like, something. They haven't just gone, oh, it's sci-fi, therefore let's put the door on the piss, which is what they usually do. And the lighting in this is wonderful. And it's a really odd decision to light somebody backlight in as well. It's very odd. Brilliant, but odd.
Yeah, it gives it a really sort of nightly feel, doesn't it?
Yeah. About, 35 years before Oculus? Can you imagine working in that office with all that flashing going off all the time?
Yeah, lovely, eh?
You go nuts, wouldn't you? They've overlooked something.
I mean, this is well written than most detective stories.
Oh, yeah. This is what I like with the show is the fact that it's been quite thorough with how it's presenting itself. Like it's not just skipping over this.
Yeah.
Like once Blake is arrested, that's enough to keep the plot going. But it doesn't stop with that. It tries to layer this in as well. It doesn't have to. By the way, I don't know if you noticed here, complete lack of musical score.
I've noticed now.
Yeah, you will have incidental music in this, but it's Dudley Simpson, so he's also double dutying on Doctor Who. Yeah, for which country though? Here's a great little moment. This is a bit of a ooh, you got you.
Yeah.
I don't mind some of the props in this. They look quite good for the time. They must have gone through tons of polystyrene. Tons.
I don't think it looks that bad, to be honest with you.
No, the polystyrene, the sculptures aren't that bad at all. It's the fact that they've got these generic flat sets with the tops missing. All the tops to all the sets are missing. Like they locked all these prisoners up in a set that don't have a roof. I mean, if you look at this prison set, you can see what they've done. They've got some of those angular lean-tos, like what they've got here, and this is the same set. They've just literally turned things around to make these corridors. They've literally just taken this. They've had 6 of them, and they've just literally turned 3 of them to face each other, and they've gone, "All right, this is a corridor now." And then they'll even them out on one side, and then open up the wall on the other side, and they go, "All right, then." So now we've got a big open area. It's all the same set.
It does work though. I think it. Well, I think it works.
It's clever, but it's also very cheap. That's quite a good mat shot.
That's usually what single file means.
Yeah.
Yeah, you always get one officious guard that needs to spell stuff out, don't you?
What a prick.
1970s future technology.
Yeah. Everybody else would just hear the phone. There's the London. The flying brick.
Does look a bit Lego in that shot.
Yeah, it does look very much like a model there.
It's only this big. Model itself is just, it's about, if I've got this right, the model itself is 14 inches long. So it's a very small model. By the way, the only reason why everything's got a cord on it is because they are still using older bulbs and technology, and they're all 12 volts, so they require a massive battery pack.
Yeah.
Whatever you say, Dennis Waterman's ugly uncle. He'll be good to you. See, that's a good match shot. That's pretty good as well. You don't need to see the ship, just the illumination from the engines. Dun dun dun.
I remember the first time I saw this more recently, like as an adult, and I remember thinking, "Whoa, that's dark."
Yeah. can hear where Dudley Simpson has learnt from Doctor Who. There we go. That's the end of that one. So, episode 1, Blakes'7, The Way Back. It's good, isn't it?
I'm still listening to the music.
Excellent first episode. It sets things up beautifully.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it does.
It's good the fact that again, it's good. It throws so many balls in the air, but it still tells the story. Like a problem with a lot of writing is that they tend to put too many things on the move, and you've got to sacrifice some sort of plot to keep things going. Whereas with this, even though with the lawyer, it sort of wraps things up, even though it's not satisfied. Like it's like no, but it now tells you how severe the government is on this.
Mm.
It's a case of they're not willing to put up with any sort of dissidence or any sort of anybody thinking freely, and particularly in this situation, they're kind of like, well, we're dealing with Rog Blake here. We need to make sure that everybody involved in this just ends up dead. It's quite stark, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's very dystopian.
Blakes'7.
Blakes'7, yeah.
It's just going to get even more so in the next episode. So
Yeah.
There's no let up.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I just wish my big problem with this, honestly, it's the fact that this was all shot in TC3, or most of it was shot in TC3, and they're shooting other shows there at the same time. They're shooting Doctor Who there and stuff, and you're like, well, I get it, but if you're going to invest in a show, invest in the show. It's great what they did, but you imagine that this could have been so much better had they just put the money towards it. They could have shot this at Pinewood. It wouldn't have been a problem. In fact, they borrowed stuff from Pinewood to make this show. Some of the consoles and things were borrowed from Bond films and so on. So it was there. It was available. It's just the fact that they just decided not to pay for it, and it's the big problem with the show. Really, it's the biggest problem with the show is the fact that because it's so underfunded, it's the sets and the special effects are where it gets kicked in the ass all the time.
I tend to ignore that. It's like I've said to you before. You could put me in front of an old Atari console, and I'll see spaceships, I'll see footballs, whereas other people would see little different coloured squares. Because I can filter around that because the story is so good.
Yeah,
it blots all that out to me.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it makes the show look like crap, and it makes other people then who want to watch the show, like if you're going to introduce new people to the show, they're really not going to want to watch it because it looks bad, and it's a huge part of it. And you imagine that if they had actually spent the money on this and actually done the sets properly instead of just putting, there's a funny shape, let's make that the door. Let's use these characteristic blocks and just move them around because we're filming in one studio. So, if they actually invested in this, got better costumes, got better sets. When this was firing on all cylinders, it was really, really good. Like, really good. Like, the whole scene with the lawyer and his wife in the bedroom, it looked really good. It looked fantastic. The lighting on it was fantastic as well. The torture scene with Blake is fantastic. It's really well done. The problem is that they half-arse it the rest of the way. And it's a BBC problem. This isn't indicative just to Blake 7. This happens with Doctor Who as well. We know that. But what I'm saying is that when people, if you're going to want this show to last, if you want the show to have a new audience, yeah, that's not what something that you want to show on.
Yeah,
Because
but when they originally made the show, though,
Mhm.
do you think they weren't thinking of video and DVD sales down the line? They were thinking of the 10 million viewers there
no,
and then.
right, no, so they weren't even thinking of that. They were thinking that they were under BBC TV license and they had to make a show. That's it. They had to make a particular amount. So with the BBC's TV license, they have to make a particular amount of science fiction shows per year. That this mandated because they are publicly funded. So they have to make shows that cover every demographic. So they had to make it. It wasn't a. They could have made anything, really, but they would have had to have made something, and they threw this out, and just didn't bother paying for it. Again,
Thing is, though, you take all that into account. The end result is something
I'm
stunning.
not. I'm not knocking the people that worked on it. I'm not knocking anything like that. It's literally, it starts at the top of the BBC. If what I'm saying to you is, it had this been an ITV product instead of a BBC product, it would look 10 times better. Because ITV would have gone right. Well, if we're going to spend money on this, we're going to spend money on it. And you compare any ITV show to a BBC show, and ITV wins every time. Because they're being funded by commercials, because they have to fight to earn their money. BBC doesn't. BBC's given the money, so they don't pay. This could have been an episode of Doctors, and it would have been an eye opener. But it would have been, but it would have been the same thing. It would have been the same expenditure. They don't. That's the way they work. That's all. That's at least how they used to work anyway. In the 70s and 80s. And it annoys me because it means that they're not treating the science fiction with the same sort of regard as they have for period dramas. And we know period dramas. I mean, they didn't have the same sort of regard for this as they did for Last of the Summer Wine.
Yeah, they've always looked down on science fiction, haven't they? Even
Yeah.
though when you think about it, maybe not
biggest
so much
earners.
this, but Doctor Who, yeah, it's a massive earner for them.
Yeah.
I suppose I can only agree. I mean, the sets in Last of the Summer Wine really did look like Yorkshire. So
Yeah. Yeah, but all the house sets and everything, So and the studios that they use, it's they're willing to spend the budget on it. They're not willing to spend the budget on this. That's why these sets here are all loose. They're all cheaply built. They're all wobbly as hell. All of them, literally. When not in this episode, but in the next one, where we get to see the Liberator and the interior of the Liberator, you watch every time somebody touches something, they've got to be so careful because anytime they touch something, it moves. It all moves. It's so bad. But again, it's not the production's fault. You can't blame the production on it. The people working on it. It's literally down to the fact that the BBC are unwilling to pay for it, and it's even when you look at it and going, right then, okay, so they might not have future-proofed this show for repeat. It didn't do any favors at the time because this show has been part of the science fiction joke of wobbly sets and bad special effects since the 80s. I mean, it's a shame because the show deserves a hell of a lot better than that. And again, it changes because it varies because again you have different visual effects on screen that some look really, really, really well done, like the takeoff of the London looked really good. But then you get other shots then and it's just like that's really bad. That's bad for then. That's not bad for now, that's bad for then. But yeah, it's that's my point with this is the fact that the BBC really should have respected what they were trying to do, and in the same way of any show that they would have paid for.
I
at
mean,
the time.
the one thing that does speak volumes about Blake'7
Hmm.
is the first episode we've just watched that pulled in 7.4 million viewers on whatever, you know. I don't really remember what hype and adverts and that it got at the time.
Hmm.
The second episode, Spacefall, got 7.3 million. The
Yeah,
third episode, Cygnus Alpha, pulled in 8.5 million. So it's
it's doing
doing something
numbers.
right. It's doing something right
It's
by its third week, up in its viewership by 1 million people.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I don't think it's still doing Doctor Who figures there.
No, it's not
Um,
doing Doctor Who figures.
but
Doctor Who did have nearly 20 years on it, so
yeah, but again, I mean, Doctor Who was kind of the classic era. Who was kind of consistent with his figures, or above 8 to 12 million. Um, but I mean, for this, yeah, it had a good viewership. Look, I still respect the hell out of the show. I totally respect the hell out of the show. It's just the fact that the production suffered because I think maybe had they had the budget to shoot more location stuff instead. Because like you're gonna see when they go to uh is it Cygnus Alpha? They shoot in the quarry, same as they do on Doctor Who, but they decide to night shoot there, and then they backlight there, and it's a totally different thing. It's a totally different vibe, totally different feel, and it's done really really well. At the same time, then you've got uh what's her name? Jenna. In the fourth episode, she ends up finding the wardrobe. Oh God. Oh God. I mean, it's ups and downs. It is ups and downs, and you can kind of see where the BBC fingerprints are on it. Like you can look at this and be under no illusion that it's a BBC show. Do you know
Oh
what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
This wasn't made by ATV or ITV. This was a BBC show, and yeah, that's what it is. As for the story, though, man, guns blazing, absolutely rocking it.
Yeah.
What did you think of how they decided to show him recalling, basically?
oh, I thought it was great. That bit where he's constantly seeing the fist come towards him and then getting a pickaxe handle around the side of his noggin, and the flashing lights with his head in like the MRI type thing. I think that was really well done. That was really bleak.
Oh yeah, and again, it's very Total Recall, very Total Recall.
Or is Total Recall very Blake'7?
Yeah, yeah. It's again, it throws up some interesting ideas. It's got your government, basically being sort of trying to stay in control of a submissive society. Um, and you get to see sort of the total control, the extent that they're willing to go to stamp out dissidents. It's not really a new concept, but I think that it does it extremely well. It's nice that the fact that they put Blake in the position of, being set up, being framed. They didn't have to though, because I think any time that you're dealing with the man versus the government, you're instantly going to side with the man anyway. So they didn't really have to do that. This is all just extra material. And this is probably why Gareth Thomas ended up wanting to leave anyway. After, was it the second season?
Yeah.
I mean, it's you look at how they deal with the character of Roger Blake after the second, well, during the second season, and it's like they've losing their foot in here.
Well, I mean, in his own words, in an interview I watched with him, he basically said he was he told him he wasn't happy with it and he wanted to
Mhm.
leave,
Mhm.
and they offered him more money, and he said, "No, I want to direct a couple of episodes. That's all I want to do." And they said no, and he said, "Well, I'm off then."
Yeah, I mean, I mean, maybe that's a bit of star power trying to put his foot down a little bit, I guess. But the other side of that is the fact that you know these people were working hard on the show, and they knew what they wanted. They knew which way they wanted the show to go, and it didn't go that way. It went into, I mean, at one point it spirals away from. I mean, I believe it was even quoted as going from science fiction to science fantasy. Was one of the other quotes for Blake'7. And it's such a shame because there is a really good story here. Like, there's a really good story here. You know, the planet is, whatever, for whatever reason, the planet has been now occupied by dome cities. People are being force fed suppressants to keep them um, submissive. And these people are now breaking free of that and are trying to fight to save the population. Well, some of them are fighting, some of them don't care. Avon. Avon couldn't care less. But it's an interesting take on it, and there's a lot to mine from it. There is a lot to mine from it. You imagine that the fact that you're going to be fighting the whole planet. Like, I don't think that there was any need for him to go sort of off into having these deep space adventures later on, when the core of the idea could be is set inside the solar system. No, it's a lot of space, you know. But I don't know. What do you guys take on how this story unfolds as we go? Because again, season one to me is the pinnacle of it.
Well, it's certainly at its strongest when it is, the seven going up against the Federation. When you get the occasional episodes where it's Alien of the Week, they're always among the worst. I forget the episode title, but that Ultra World. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah.
And that was truly awful. So yeah, I mean. There's no doubt. If they stuck to having it as them taking on the Federation all the way through, it would have been even better than it is. I mean, I still think it's great. It does have some stinkers in there, like I said at the start. But
it's kind of like Star Trek Voyager.
no, it's not that bad.
No, but it starts off better, then it disappears, and then it starts going off doing this whole other thing with these other characters. Whereas with Blake'7, it starts off doing one thing, and then it goes off and it changes to other characters, and it's it's just a bit peculiar. I mean, we get some of the changes in the show. I'm trying to think of the episode. I think I'm gonna check it. I think it's is it series 3? Oh, I don't know.
What one are you thinking of?
It's one where it might be Ultra World actually. It's no, it's not. They are trying to hold off. They're in like a colony, and they're trying to hold off vegetables. Do you know what I'm on about?
You're not mixing this up with a Woody Allen film, are you?
No. It's kind of like they're trying to do Day of the Triffids.
I was going to say the only thing that springs to mind is Day of the Triffids.
But it's no, they're in, and there's this like brain thing in there. Controlling.
Oh, that's Ultra World with the giant brain that's in the middle of this planet. Well, no, it's not even a planet, is it? It's like this. It's basically a copy of the Death Star, I think.
I don't think it's Ultra World. I don't. I really don't. because like there's these vegetable things attacking they keep attacking the colony all the time.
Yeah, see, that bit is definitely not Ultra World, but I don't know what the hell that one is.
Ah, they're like vegetable people. I'm trying to think because they stuck inside the colony. They're like huts. It's not an orbit.
No, certainly not Orbit.
Oh, what? I want to say this is maybe even season 2. They're like plant people.
Well, I know there was giant insecty things in the Harvest of Kairos.
No. It's see.
Oh, it sounds like it might be The Web,
Oh, it could be, yeah.
which, yeah, I must admit is a truly terrible episode.
Which series is that, Chris?
Series 1,
one.
episode 5.
Is it the web? I don't know. I don't know. There's like yeah, do you know those like domed like tube buildings like they look like greenhouses. And there's like 2 of them and they're trying to hold off inside them. Oh,
Yeah,
it might
that
be.
does sound like The Web.
It could be.
Yeah, vegetable people in the web.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
the decimers. Yeah. That's not Blakes'7 at its best, that one.
no, they've been attacked by walking cucumbers.
Well, is that the one you're thinking of, Carwin? I'll just put this screen up.
Let's have a look. I think so. Yeah.
If I go back a bit.
You see the call. Yeah, that's them.
All right, well, I won't share it for too long in case.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they've been attacked by literally cabbages.
Yeah, that's the web.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, like Chris said earlier, you know, most of the every series has got its stinkers, but
Oh yeah. No, I totally. But it's just the fact that it's introducing new ideas, and I like the fact that it does throw up new ideas into the air. I do. That doesn't bother me at all. It's again the real problem is the underfunding of the BBC. That's all it comes down to. Honestly, this is the biggest problem with the show. If you want to talk about the concepts that it throws up, I mean, Duel I think is pretty good. You know,
Yeah.
I think that's a good episode.
It's a blatant copy of the Star Trek episode. Was it the one with the Gorn? But it's still great though.
Yeah, and then I mean they drop in little clues throughout the show as well to Aurak, and then you get Aurak in the final episode. So it's.
well, I mean, we can laugh at the web when we can laugh at the web when we get to it.
Oh, we will. I can assure you, we will.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. I
We
mean,
don't have much of a choice.
I mean, it's like thinking about what you're saying. You know, if you was trying to get someone new to watch it, I'll be honest with you. I don't give a shit what anyone else thinks.
It stands up with the reputation of the show.
Yeah, but I still don't care. You know, I watch it for me, and I can see past all that. I see past all that in Doctor Who. So
yeah, but again,
I enjoyed Planet of the Invasion of the Dinosaurs, for Christ's sakes.
yeah, no, I totally agree with you. But it's just the fact that I love the show. I love Blakes'7. I'm so annoyed at the fact that it didn't get the respect from the producers. That's what annoys me with it, is the fact that it could have been so much better, and it really could have been. It's just the production just didn't care, and that's always been a problem with sci-fi. Doctor Who, classic Doctor Who, could have always been better because but they just didn't get the respect of the people in the upper echelon of the offices.
When you think about the number of science fiction programs that the BBC made, especially around this sort of time,
Mm-hmm.
it does sort of boggle the mind. Why did they constantly treat it almost with contempt by the fact that they would starve it of money to make the production any good? Because you had this, you had Doctor Who, you had Day of the Triffids, you had the tripods, and they all suffer from the same thing, which is exactly what you've been saying.
And yet every single one of them was a blinding success.
Again, all of them could have been so much better.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm actually agreeing with you now, mate. Yeah. When you would have thought after how successful Doctor Who was, and then how successful the first series of Blakes'7 was, you would have thought that someone at the BBC might have gone, "Hang on a minute, we're onto something here."
Yeah, no. I mean, you just thought that they would have, but the problem is that the second you said science fiction, they instantly thought, "Oh, it's a kiddie thing."
Yeah.
And they instantly, and they couldn't see it, and they literally blind to it. When Star Wars come out, and this is what I find galling with the show. By the time you get to season 3 of Blakes'7, you're looking at sort of Empire Strikes Back territory. Like it's at least on the horizon, right?
Yeah.
So they've had Star Wars. Empire Strikes Back is looking at being like, it's coming out. You've got the trailers for it at least, and then you can imagine that there's a whole feeling. You know what it's like when these sorts of things come about, that you automatically get a hype for it, and then people get excited for it, and then you get people, and the TV's much quicker than movies. So if the movie's coming out in 6 months, a TV show can have a TV episode out within a month, 2 months. It'll be on TV before, so they can kind of beat people to the punch and add to the hype. So they can do something very, very similar and go, right then, there we go, that's similar to this, therefore let's cash in.
So they did Ultra World.
Yeah. So you get that, but the thing with science fiction is the fact that it's never ever held up with TV producers. I mean, I would have said this is why American science fiction worked better, is because they actually treated it the same. If you look at the quality of the shows being produced from the 50s onwards, they didn't treat it any differently to any other show, and I know one of the reasons why Doctor Who, the classic series of Doctor Who, got cancelled was because of Star Trek: The Next Generation, and that was because when Star Trek: The Next Generation came out, it was 1986 going into production. 87, they were starting to get previews, and when they started to get previews, they were looking at it going, "Well, we can't compete with the quality of these things, so we'll cancel it." And they literally under budgeted it, and they did all. I mean, if you look at the classic era we talked about earlier, the classic era of Doctor Who, you put that side by side with Buck Rogers in the 25th century. Look at the difference in the quality of the production there. Look at the difference in the quality of the production with Battlestar Galactica. All these things are going off at the same time. It's just because the studios over there are a bit more optimistic about science fiction than they are over here. And even the only person over here, I would say, genuinely, the only person over here that even had a crack at doing something on par was Jerry Anderson.
Yeah.
Jerry Anderson was the only other person to look at science fiction over here and go, actually, you can tell a lot of stories with this. And that's what annoys me with it. It's not that I'm not crapping on the show for anything to do with the concept, the idea, the acting. The acting is brilliant in this.
Oh yeah,
the acting is absolutely brilliant. The stories are brilliant. It's just, I wish it wasn't the BBC that had made it. Hell, if this had been an American production, Jesus H. Christ, they'd still be making it now. We've been into the 43rd season of Blakes'7. Like, with the original cast. I mean, it's staggering the differences in the productions. Because you imagine, just to give you some idea, right, of how different the studios are with science fiction over there to science fiction over here. Something like The Adventures of Superman with George Reeves. Run for what? 7 years? 7 years easy, and they only stopped because he didn't want to do it anymore. Lost in Space run for like 5 years. Land of the Giants, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, all the Irwin Allen stuff. I mean, it was just an outpouring of science fiction. You know, Star Trek then run for 3 years, and even then, they after it got cancelled, they brought it back for another season because of the fandom.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it was 78 episodes. I mean, it's incredible. Like when you even though it was like season 3 of the original series of Star Trek is not that great, they still put enough money into it so that it was just like, you know what, I can see what you're trying to do. Let's try something here. You know, and it was just the fact that they had moved it to the death zone. You know, Friday nights at 10. That's why that ended up getting canned. Whereas with the BBC, man, they weren't interested in advertising. They weren't interested. I mean, this probably had more advertising from Multicolored Swap Shop than any other show. That's really, and I know that there are episodes of Swap Shop where Matt Irvin went on the show with all the models, showing everybody.
Yeah, I remember those. He went on a few times, didn't he?
Yeah, and it's just it's annoying that somebody with such a good idea didn't get the opportunity to let it shine.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but there is one thing that instantly springs to mind.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the Americans would have made a program like Blakes'7 because it's too bleak for them.
Yeah, possibly, but I mean, back then maybe, I don't know. It's difficult to say because you know they would have treated it with a similar sort of reverence to things like Ironside. You know, I'm thinking of shows at the time like yeah, what would have been like shows being made in the 70s, Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah, there's a lot of cop shows, wasn't there? Kojak and the likes. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think they would have at least treated it with that as a very similar sort of reverence.
Well, maybe. I saw what they did with their version of Red Dwarf.
Yeah, but again, that's because they have no idea how humor works.
Yeah.
I saw an episode of Seinfeld, and it was about a guy telling jokes, and none of the jokes were funny.
Yeah.
You know, it was not good. Whereas I think with this, if you had Terry Nation right there, and it was being American produced, man, that's a good combination. That's a real good combo sandwich.
Well, first thing they would have said is, right, we're not having him being accused of being a kiddie fiddler, even if it is fake, because they stay well clear of anything like that.
But it would have still been something harsh. It would have still been something, you know, bad. Like, I got a feeling that the rapist stuff would have stayed in there. Because that wouldn't have been a problem.
That could have been, yeah.
Murdering, all that sort of stuff, that wouldn't have been a problem because they done murder shows all the time.
Oh, yeah, constantly.
You know, Quincy was based on it.
Yeah.
So
I can't believe we've stooped so low that we're talking about sodding Quincy.
You leave Quincy out of this.
I wish you had.
Well, I like Jack Klugman. I mean, he's in
Yeah.
12 Angry Men, so I mean, he's done something decent there. But yeah, I'm not so keen on Quincy itself.
Doesn't he pop up in Diagnosis Murder?
Almost certainly, yeah. Well, I mean, that Jesus Christ, that is barrel scraping when you're getting a Diagnosis Murder. I mean, even Murder, She Wrote has more credibility than that.
There's only one thing
It's just got Barry
Diagnosis.
Van Dyke in it.
Yeah, yeah. I was going to say the only thing Diagnosis Murder's got for it is Dick Van Dyke's in it because he's brilliant.
But it's got Barry Van Dyke in it as well.
Yeah.
And he's the kiss of death on every show. He's killed Battlestar Galactica and Airwolf. Poor sod.
Yeah, talking of American science fiction, we should also say R.I.P. for Dean Stockwell, and all passed away the other
God,
day.
yes. Yeah. Oh, I was gutted about that. Absolutely gutted. Yeah.
A fine actor.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. I mean, I remember him from obviously the Battlestar Galactica. Jesus Hedge, you know the new series. I don't know if you guys have seen the new Galactica, but he played he was a very prominent role as one of the Cylons, and yeah, he had a very good revival in that, and obviously Quantum Leap as well. Just yeah, Al Calavici. Just yeah, it was such a bummer to hear that he had passed away.
I mean, you know, he was 85. It's not like he was like in his 40s or something. So, you know, I suppose the thing
No,
to
of course.
say is he had a good innings, but yeah, it is
But
a shame.
Still, yeah, it was still, you know, there's no reason why you couldn't have made it to 105. Another 20 years. But yeah, it was just like it's sad when you lose somebody that you've grown up with. Basically, that's all it is. It's you know,
Yeah.
I remember getting home from school and Quantum Leap being on TV on a Thursday night, and yeah, and then they dicked around and jazzed the theme tune up with that, as well, season 3, because they always do.
They do, yeah. I stopped watching Quantum Leap after about the second series when it started getting a bit schmaltzy and all a bit emotion. I prefer the earlier ones.
I liked it when they introduced the Evil Leaper into it, but it was it was a little bit because they were on about reviving Quantum Leap.
I can tell one of the three of us isn't a fan of Quantum Leap.
No, I wasn't a fan.
I mean, you know, it was okay. I think its biggest problem, to be honest with you, for me personally, I'm not a huge Scott Bakula fan.
No, I can't say I am either. He actually, he is the main reason why I didn't really bother too much with Enterprise.
He's what I like to call a pretty shitty actor.
See,
Yeah,
I
that's a pretty good
quite like
description.
Scott Bakula, so yeah, it's funny how different people see different things.
Oh man, this like he is the worst thing about it in the Mirror Darkly. His acting in that, or lack of, is really drags that story down. And it's a shame. Like I said, I like Quantum Leap, I like Enterprise, but yeah, he needs work. I don't know. It feels like it doesn't. I wouldn't have said he's phoning it in. It's just I think maybe he's hammy. I think that's probably what it is. Like everything he says is slightly like that's a bit over the top. Dial it back. Dial it back.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it worked for William Shatner.
Yeah, but William Shatner was selling everything over the top. He got a lot better later on. He did get a lot better later on. You look at it. I mean, I know Nicholas Meyer said about William Shatner was that if you wanted William Shatner to give you a performance, then you would keep getting him to do it over and over and over because he'd get bored with it. and then he'd stop doing it. He'd stop doing a performance. He'd give you what you need, not what he wants to do. Because what he would always want to do is be like big and in and all, and then at some point you'd just be like, oh, okay, and then be like, right, yeah, great, excellent, cut, print, let's go.
Yeah.
But that's the way it is. Certain actors work that way. It's hard when when you're dealing with actors, to be honest, though, because I know like somebody like what's his face from Breaking Bad. Oh hell, what's his name?
Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston. He's one that never tries to do the same take twice because he's looking for something and he's not sure where they find it. But at the same time, then he's also not responsible for what take gets chosen. Do you know what I mean? So even though he's delivering what he thinks is a great performance or a varied performance, it's up to the editor to go, that's the better take. So when you're dealing with actors like that, I mean, Bryan Cranston's a brilliant actor anyway. He knows his craft. He's studied it, and he's done everything from Power Rangers to everything.
Oh yeah, that's a high bar.
Man, everybody could earn a living. Everybody could earn a living, and he's done everything, and he's worked his way up. He didn't become Bryan Cranston until very much later in his career.
I know, but it's just not a sentence I was expecting to hear tonight. He's really good. He was in the Power Rangers. Like, come on.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. But he's earned it. He's gone through it. Like he's done everything that's ever been asked of him, and he clearly. You don't do these things. He done Power Rangers twice actually. He did Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and he did the movie as well. The last movie, I mean. So he's clearly he's interested in doing stuff that I think scares him. I want to say that he finds like he's unsure of, and I think a lot of actors like that can learn from it, because again, it's not up to them. Who they don't give a performance and go right then that goes on screen. It's not like recording a theatre show. It's they do the performance. The director tells them, "Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Do this instead." And then they do it again, and then again, and then again, and then the editor picks the best one. So that's why it bothers me when we get these bloody awards for best actor in. It's like, how many takes do you do that? 27 takes, and he's won best actor award. Like, you get one go, one. That's it. One take. Do your best. Then we see who's the best actor. But yeah. So getting back down to Blakes'7, the way back. Gareth Thomas. He's not what I would have called my choice to play a rebel leader. For Rog Blake, he wouldn't have been the sort of person I would have gone, oh yeah, that's what I can see as being this, because he's very Shakespearean. But at the same time, I'm glad he did, because
the way he enunciates his lines, and he has got that. It's not like he's got a plummy voice or anything like that, but he is very well spoken, and I think that works well to show him as an intelligent leader rather than a thug.
Yeah, and this is my thing, is the fact that I think that had they gone with somebody else who could have been a bit more street, I don't think it would have worked, because I think that particularly at the time, whereby you're still dealing with the fact that the BBC still want people to enunciate and speak Queen's English, as opposed to regional accents, it was kind of, he's your leading man. I don't know who else you'd have put there. Maybe Terence Stamp. That would have been different.
Yeah, that would have
Kneel
been different.
before Blake.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of a British actor that would have done a good job of that, like of have that sort of air of authority.
Well,
Plus,
you got to mention John Thor if you're talking
That's
about.
that's
oh
the
yeah,
name that just
yeah,
sprang to my mind. Yeah,
that would have been interesting.
yeah, Jack Regan in space. Yeah, that I'd
Yeah.
certainly want to see.
Yeah, that would have been interesting actually.
Get in the ship, you slags!
It's interesting though because John Thor he went in so many different directions as well, didn't he? As an actor, like you went from doing what was it, Sweeney,
Oh yeah, I'll tell you what.
and then
One of the greatest
Inspector
things
Morse.
one of the greatest things I've ever seen that I thought was really well done. My wife got the full collection of Inspector Morse,
Mhm.
and I'd never really watched it before. And they got me with a trick because I didn't know it was coming. The first episode, I can't remember exactly what happens, but he comes skidding round the corner in his like maroon Jag, skids to a halt and jumps out. I was like, oh yeah. And then it goes Inspector Morse. But the way they did that at the beginning, knowing his past programs, I was like, this is going to be great. And I ended up watching it purely because of that.
But yeah, I mean, there's got to be another actor out there that would have been suitable for Blake. I'm just trying to think of one at the time that would have had that same sort of. Because again, you're looking for somebody who can almost be, I don't know, a sort of a magistrate type person. You know, he needs that sort of balance, that judgment to be able to be that, but still have that air of authority and still instill leadership.
Someone who appears later on in this first series, Julian Glover.
Oh hell, Julian Glover. Yeah, but Julian Glover's a bad guy.
Well, that's it. I mean, he's
guy.
the villain most of the time. Yeah,
Bad
but
guy. He's
for good
so
reason,
bad.
because he's perfect at playing the villain, isn't he?
He's so bad. He gets cast as a villain, even in the movies.
Yeah.
He can't get away from it. He can't. Even he's been beaten by Doctor Who, Blake, and Harrison Ford. He's had an ass kicking off the Doctor off Doctor Who, off Blakes'7, and bloody Indiana Jones. It doesn't. That's a rap sheet. That is. That's
Yeah.
one hell of a rap sheet. Yeah, that's crazy. So who else we got? Michael Keaton as Villa. Brilliant character. I love him. I think
Oh,
he's
like,
one of my favourites.
he's quite different in this episode compared to any of the others. He
Yeah.
seems a bit more confident, and in the rest, he's basically the coward. I've got no problem with that, but I don't think it would have worked in this episode if he had been like the more cowardly type that we got to see for the rest of it. But you can certainly notice the difference.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Villa the only character to actually appear in every episode?
I believe he is. Yeah.
Because
So,
Paul Darrow as Avon is in all of them except the first one.
Yep.
But Villa is in the lot.
Yeah. He's in 52 episodes, is it? I think.
Yeah, it's 52 or 53. It is 52, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, and again, we've got a good launching cast as well. With the first one, I mean, I don't even know how to pronounce Sally's last name.
Nivette.
Sally Nivet, yeah.
Sally Nivette.
Yeah. But she does a great job. Again, Jeremy Wilkin, you just punch him. Just punch him.
Human Alton.
Yeah. I think we need to rate this. I give it a rating because I think we've covered pretty much everything else to do with the show. Chris, do you want to go first?
This is possibly the best episode to open a science fiction series there is. And I'm going to give it a 10 because that's how much I like it.
Nice. Best science fiction show to open a series. Well, it's better than any of the tracks. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Stargate, you know I do, but this
Yeah.
this pisses over Stargate from a great height in its writing. And now we're talking about my favourite science fiction show, but that as an opening, I don't think it gets any better now. I think
I mean,
Terry Nation nailed it.
Yeah, it's a good. It is a good cold open. A science fiction show. I mean,
I can think of one that I think beats it. First episode of Space 1999.
I
Breakaway.
disagree, but yeah, it's a subjective thing, isn't it? For me, nothing tops this.
I gotta agree with Chris. I think Space 1999 is a great opening, and Breakaway is a fantastic episode. I think this takes precedence on because this is treating it with a bit more seriousness. Like Space 1999 is more fun, but this is treating science fiction really seriously.
Well, yeah, no one gets accused of kiddie fiddling on the Eagle, do they?
No, but that's what I mean. It's treating it with a sense of reality. That's what I like with Blakes'7, particularly with season 1. This is why I like season 1 so much, is because there's an element of, okay, this is people dressed up in silly clothes traveling through space, but even later on, whereby we're gonna get Brian Blessed as a bloody religious nut. Religious radicalism is not unheard of. It's a serious, and the fact that he's willing to kill for his religious belief and to want to radicalize other systems.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
I mean, seriously, and it's dealing with it. Every single topic gets dealt with, with a certain amount of severity. Again, the next episode in Blakes'7, what's it called?
Spaceball.
Spaceballs. In Spaceball, they talk about rape, with Rika, and it's they allude to it. I mean, they don't shy away from anything, and it's what makes the show so good. So, even though Space 1999 is more fun and better produced, better put together, man, the story in this is just rock solid. So, I think if I'm going to weigh it up, we're going to weigh a story versus production. I'm going to take points off for set, points off for visual effects. It's still an 8.5 for story. Dudley Simpson even does some good work in this. Like it's solid all around. What Chris said earlier. You can't overlook the bad sets and everything. I've got to include that in the scoring because it is part of what they're presenting. But if this was an audio play, man, this would be knock your socks off. So I'm going to give it 8.5. Yakuza, what about you?
I mean, it is a fantastic first episode. I can't go as high as 10 because that would suggest it's perfect. I don't think it's perfect. But ever since you mentioned giving it a rating, I've had the rating of 8.5 in my head as well. So, yeah, I would go with that. The flaws are... Okay, yeah, the sets aren't great, but they're functional. And as has been said plenty of times already, the story and the acting are both so good, I can completely ignore it. It doesn't really bother me.
The directing's good in this as well, by the way.
Yeah.
We haven't really talked about the directing in this, but there are moments in this whereby the director and the editor are working in tandem, and they cut in this sharp enough so that it doesn't get stale, it doesn't get boring. It's always rolling forward. And again, they introduce scenes that you don't really need to see. You didn't need to find out what was happening with the lawyer and his wife. You didn't. At no point was that anywhere even needed. It just layered in the villainy. It wasn't layering in the heroes. It was layering in the villainy.
When you consider how much just talking and dialogue there was in this,
Mm-hmm.
and yet it wasn't boring, that really does say a lot for what you're saying for the direction.
Well, it's very difficult. Like this is genuine, right? I was in when I was in work this week. They had Hollyoaks on TV, right?
Oh, you poor sod.
Oh yes. Now, one of the things that I noticed while watching it was how static everything was. Everything was in A camera, B camera, wide, A camera, B camera, wide, A camera, B camera, wide, and everybody was just standing still. It was like the first episode of the Doctor Who that we watched last week, whereby it was so static, and then the drama was something to do with I might be wrong. It might not have been Hollyoaks. It might have been Emmerdale, right? I can't remember. All soaps look the same to me. I don't know, right? But the plot point was that the guy had got stuck, and this girl had given him a lift, and he ended up spending the night on the sofa. That was the entire plot. That was the entire drama.
Sounds riveting.
Yeah, that was it.
Oh, how do they do it?
I couldn't believe what I was watching.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait for the sequel.
Well, no, and she blew up over it as well. The girl, I can't believe you spent the night on some girl's sofa.
Oh, I thought you meant actual explosion from it. I was going to say, hang on, I don't remember that in there. But last time, I know they landed a plane on the town before, but
so I was watching this going, I can't believe people watch this dribble. Like, it was just unbelievable. And then to see that, and to see something like this, where they're actually using the camera to actually talk through stuff, to show stuff, and to show quite horrible things. The execution scene. We actually see showing again. I'm so glad they didn't put rays in. Putting gun rays in just would have just. I think it would have actually taken something away from the violence.
It would have done. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
So that decision comes from a total directorial thing. Maybe it was also a budget constraint as well. Maybe, I don't know, but it just looked so cut and dry, and they built that up with a certain amount of when you saw the car driving in and so on. They stayed sort of with these people, gathering. You knew it was going to end badly. You just knew, and they built it. They built it with to an execution scene. So
sometimes it's what they didn't show as well, like the end scene where Tarrant's saying, "Oh, we'll make it look like an accident," and then the camera cuts to what was his name, Varon and Major, or Marja, whatever she was called, lying on the floor dead.
Yeah,
they didn't need to show that. That was still really dark and hard hitting because it's like
yeah, but again, that's what I mean. They included something that built the villainy.
Yeah.
It wasn't building the heroes. It wasn't there to build the heroes. It was there to build the villains. It was there to show how bad is, and that's sometimes overlooked. Try to think of it like this. When was the last time you watched an episode of Doctor Who where the villains did something really scummy off screen? Like, you never saw it. Like, even if it was a Daleks or anything like that, you never saw it. In this, sure, this would have been the Daleks just executed to a group of people, then come back and just executed two of the people that you felt maybe were trying to help the heroes.
Oh, I thought of something in Doctor Who that's highly villainous that happens off screen that you don't see. Mm-hmm. That's Chris Chibnall writing a script.
Dear, oh dear, oh dear. We're watching Blakes'7 and he still can't get a reprieve.
He doesn't deserve a
No,
reprieve.
no, but this is why I think the writing in this is so good. Is because, and the direction as well. Is because you wouldn't normally. There's no need to follow those two people. There's no need to see that. There's no need to show, because the guy was going about his business, doing his thing, whereby he's got the camera out and he's filming and all this stuff. Like, those two could have just been offed earlier on, and it wouldn't have made a blind bit of difference to the storytelling. But it makes a blind bit. It does make a big difference to the villains
Yeah.
to show, like, they almost got away with it, and they didn't. They get cut down, and by making those two. The other thing that they did well was again, they showed the bedroom scene with those two, where they showed them being loved up together. So you're forming a bit more of an emotional connection to these people. You're kind of almost rooting for them. So when they get cut down, it's a bit like gets, and it just plays towards it. It's just so well. This is incredible stuff. It really is, and this is why it's my favorite science fiction writing in all of science fiction, because there's no absolute need to do this, no need at all. It's gratuitous and it's self-indulgent, and I'm just glad we got it.
I mean, the fact that between the three of us, we've rated it 27 out of 30 speaks volumes.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's not going to be this high for all of them.
No.
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 But the fact is, when we're looking at it going from kicking out the gate, like this is a goal straight away. This is a win, and it's a series that at this moment in time has something to say, and it loses its voice because it gets muddled in with, again, Terry Nation decides he's not going to stay on board. Other people come in and start writing, and it's not the same. It's not the same, and it's a shame, because I think if the show had been a bit more about dealing with fighting the man, fighting the government, it would have been held a little bit more in higher regard.
I mean, it's all right to have a monster of the week episode every 3-4, every third or fourth episode. You have one and you have three that follow the story, and one that's like an aside. It's like that. But by the time the series was drawing to an end, it was becoming formulaic, weren't it? And like you say, it was becoming space fantasy rather than what it was like when it started, which was a hard hitting script.
Well, I mean, I can't think of another script. I can't think of another science fiction that deals with such or takes such a serious tone. I mean, I'm trying to think of. Can you honestly think of any science fiction shows out there? I mean, the only one I can think of is The Expanse.
Yeah.
And even then, when I was watching The Expanse, when I watched the first season of The Expanse, I was going, Jesus Christ, they're trying to remake Blakes'7. And again, even to the point whereby it was got about 4 or 5 episodes in, and I was like, if they come across a super advanced ship that's gonna be able to help them fight, and then they come across the Rocinante, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, we're done here. We're done.
I think The Expanse is quite possibly the best science fiction series that's been made in the 21st century.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. Really, I've lost interest in it, to a certain degree, in the fact that I haven't watched it since season 2, I think. But
Totally changes after season 2. You got season 1, which is kind of part Blakes'7, part film noir.
Yeah.
And then you've got a lot of payoff to that in season 2. And then season 3 and 4 is very alien worldy discovery stuff, and season 5, the proverbial manure hits the round spinning cooling objects. It's good. I really like it, and I know what I'm like. I'm hard to please. So
Yeah, no, I didn't say that if I was to sit down and go through it, I probably would like it as well. It's just the fact that I've got to be persuaded to sit down and go through it because there have been times whereby I want to go through a particular. I've been looking at going into watching what's it called, Squid Games.
yeah, I've had people keep going on about Squid Games.
Yeah, so I might give that a look as well. So it's just we'll see because I started watching bloody what's it called, Westworld, and Westworld just bored the crap out of me.
Just stick with the film.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, no. The Yul Brynner movie, yeah, you give me that any day of the week.
Yeah.
Even Future World. But bloody hell, I tried watching the TV show and it was just like, oh, I'm 7 episodes in and I'm like, I wish they'd shoot me.
From what I can make out, I've got a friend who watches Westworld, and from what I can make out from what he's said, it's literally dealing with artificial emotions and lovey-dovey stuff, and it's like, you're making a soap opera with robots. It's androids from Red Dwarf, isn't
it? Yeah, androids.
Droids. Yeah.
Everybody needs good androids. That's what it is. But I, as I understand it, from what I gathered from watching Westworld, it is actually a sequel to the movie, though.
Yeah,
like it's set like 20 odd years later, and it's just it's just following up on it. The character, Yul Brynner's character, even shows up in it.
Oh no!
Yeah, but
digitally or someone else playing the part.
No, so it's very much like I think it's like a waxwork that they done, and he's just in the back. He's standing because when they go downstairs into the where they manufacture the androids, they got all these different things, and they're all standing up in bays, and they've got him standing in one of the bays with a black hat as well, and he's just it's just. As far as I can tell, it's got to be a waxwork or a silicone.
Oh, right. So at least it was paying reverence rather than trying to have him in it. It was like, that's not too bad.
I don't know that he's not in it.
Well, didn't any of them watch the ending of the film? I mean, there wasn't a great deal left of him to,
again,
put on display.
They still had the molds.
Yeah.
He was just injection molded. So.
Get your ABS, your Brynner's here.
Yeah, exactly.
The head is self-polishing.
Of course, had it been made by AMT, then he would have had too many legs, or two left arms instead of a left and a right. So,
you're not a fan of AMT, are you?
This shit.
Oh. What? I wish you'd hold back. I wish you'd come to the point.
Man, look, I'm friends with the guy that's selling the repops, and I even told him. So, it's when you're friends with the guy that runs the company, and you say, "Mate, it's crap." That's
but he loved that, yeah.
Yeah, it's just not a lot. I told him when they done the AMT repop of the Enterprise A. And he said, "What do you think?" And I said, "It's the worst model kit ever produced in history." So yeah, I don't have that sort of filter on me. I've got to tell him.
And he hasn't blocked you yet. Well,
no, he keeps inviting me back as well because I did sort of big up the Excelsior for him. So because it was like the Excelsior repop, the job they did on that was very, very good. So. As comparatively speaking, it was. If you look at the original and you compare it to the repop, they're nothing alike. It's a new model, whereas the Enterprise A model kit, the old 22-inch one, the repop, it's garbage. It's absolute garbage. But there we are. Anyway, what are we going to be doing next week then?
I thought you wanted to do episode 1 of Space 1999 next.
I think so.
Breakaway.
I think so. I think that's the way to go.
That's another great episode.
Well, I think it's either that, because like I said, I don't mind. There's lots of other sci-fi out there. Like I said, like Buck Rogers and stuff like that. We could do Battlestar. So, but I think yeah, I think next week if we do Breakaway, September 13th, 1999, and do that, I think I'd be more than happy to sink our teeth into that. We have
And
a
then
bit of fun.
I'm not going to be here the week afterwards, and I would rather you waited to do the next Doctor Who episode because I'm
That'd be
quite
fine.
looking forward to that.
Yeah, that'd be fine. That's not a problem. Yeah, so we can do something else instead. So, anyway, I think we can leave that there. If any closing thoughts, guys?
Oh, fantastic! I haven't watched that for. I think the last time I watched that, I watched the first 2 episodes. The day after Paul Darrow died. I haven't watched any Blakes'7 since then. So what's that? For 2-3 years?
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah,
it's a few. Yeah.
The whole of the first series. It's been a long time since I watched it, and I absolutely love it.
yeah. There we are.
Hence my score.
Yeah. Well, have a good one. I shall see you next week. We'll be doing Space 1999.
Excellent.
Yeah, take care.
See you later.